I'm going to proceed on the assumption that you've watched this video. If you have, give me your reaction to it.
Well, I'm very disappointed, Evans, to say the least. It's despicable that notwithstanding all the conversations we've had in the last few months, specifically, you remember there's a DC currently in court because of election-related corruption. Cecilia Dapa's case, where she's had millions of cedis and dollars that she cannot explain or account for. And yet this MP would seek to influence electoral officers. So it's quite disappointing, extremely. And so I would urge the EC to report the case to the OSP. I say OSP because what we see in the video is the envelope, which I understand he has admitted contains money. And so we are looking in the direction of election corruption. And once it's corruption, then it means that it's the OSP that has to go into the matter, not the police.
And give me a comment on what the EC has done so far. They issued a statement saying they've withdrawn the two, but they're investigating. We just heard from the Director of Electoral Services says, well, if it becomes necessary, in essence, they'll bring in the police. Should the police be... what do you make of that approach?
No, that is wrong. That is wrong. Don't forget, Kpebu is not an expert on crime. And so we shouldn't take his word as the gospel, or let's say as the best. No, he's an elections expert, but not an expert on governance and crime. Look, that envelope we saw, it's embarrassing Ghana. It's embarrassing that this thing is going to go around the whole world. And so if this thing doesn't get punished, we are going to suffer. Democracy-wise, good governance-wise, we will suffer. So we need to hold Mr. Nyako accountable. EC should send their report to the OSP. Alternatively, OSP also, they monitor the airwaves. So I'm sure by now they've heard. So we are calling upon Mr. Kisejabin to step in. Please, we can't, Dr. Sribokwaku can't say that if they find it necessary. Don't forget, this is an EC that in recent times has been hiding other cases of crime. You remember the DVD machines. But for the intelligence gathered by NDC, they intended to hide the missing DVDs, etc. And then also using the story Franklin Kujo, Imani, they've done. The DVDs that they sold out, over 1,000 of them, without informing us. So the EC currently is a crime scene. The EC is a crime scene. So Dr. Kpebu cannot be heard to say those things he said. He cannot be heard to say so. Because he is shown in recent times that, look, he's not up to scratch when it comes to good governance. In actual fact, the whole of the EC setup, they are quite, what do you call it? They are a retrogression of our democracy. So we will beg the OSP to step in.
And again, it's been a few hours since this video was captured by our cameras. Surprised that we haven't heard anything from the police. Surprised that the OSP hasn't stepped in yet, considering the gravity of what we are talking about here. We've said that if this election was happening in a swing constituency and the NDC was involved, this could have catastrophic consequences for our democracy and for our peace and security. And yet we haven't seen any movement at all from the state agencies actually clothed with the authority to investigate and prosecute such alleged crimes.
Well, Evans, to be honest, I mean, from my experience, I think OSP will step in. Yeah, Mr. Kisejabin, the gentleman that I know. Of course, I've had my own differences with him about the way he purportedly let Ejisu By-election off, the influence peddling. I am preparing to sue Ejabin in court. I'll take him on. That's a different matter. But the Ejisu By-election case aside, generally, Kisejabin is, what do you call it? He's proactive. So I expect that he will step in. For the police, I'm not surprised. Because Evans, as we speak now, look, Engineer Kenashibe and I, and then Kwame Sapoyensedu and Edem Senano, we reported Chairman Wood to the police over a year and a half ago about the galamsey in the Kano Nimiri forest. a case in which Abu Jinapo, Lands and Forestry Minister, came out to say Chairman Wuntumi Akunta Mining had no license to enter the forest. Yet DCOP Faustina Andokofi has not yet sent this case to court. This is the same case in which Martin Kpebu, CEO of the Minerals Commission, and these are appointees of Ekufuadu, also came out to say the same thing. Yet Andokofi hasn't seen it right to take the case to court. So for police, I'm not surprised. You know, the IG himself has lost a lot of confidence because of the leak tape. So these things happen. So for police, I'm not surprised. But I believe with Kisie Jabin, in the coming hours, they will be stepping in. Okay. Because this is one clear case that we need to deal with, to send a signal, the right signal to people that this election, vote buying, etc. must stop. Nobody builds a nation like this.
Okay.